Hey, welcome to my channel. I hope you are doing well. I have something exciting to show you. I recently released a brand new hair model for DAZ Studio. Now I will address the elephant in the room after my demonstration, so continue watching if you want to hear the tea. Getting started, I have loaded Genesis 8 female into DAZ Studio, and I'm going to dial in my custom bust morph real quick. It is probably the most creepy morph I ever made, and the most hilarious as well. Look at that. I've made this morph because I needed an efficient way to display my hair model and avoid the nudity on YouTube. And this way I can display the texture shaded view. Like so. And now I'm going into the content library and load the new Gili hair. And note it's in the DAZ Studio formats this time, so not in the poser formats like normally. I'm going to find it with a Genesis 8 female selected and I apply it. It is very different in many ways compared to my previous hair models. The first big difference is that it's obviously for DAZ Studio, where my previous hairs could be used in DAZ Studio as well as poser. And it's a figure and it's not a smart parented hair prop. The advantage of a figure here is that it uses the auto fit option in DAZ Studio. I shall show this quickly by going into the shaping tab, and I will dial in a head shape on Genesis 8 female. Let's take a look. Which shall I pick? I think the Girl 8 head morph is a good example. It has the biggest head and the result is very apparent. So you can see that the hair follows the head shape. It also works well for other core figures. Let me reset the value real quick and show you some other shapes. And custom heads made by other vendors will also work. For example, I dial in a beautiful character from Godin named Lynn. And it is also possible to dial in your own head shapes. In the face, like forehead round and such. Now, if you like more control, there are options to fine-tune the fit. And they live in the parameters of the hair. And they are called offset morphs. You can also use those offsets in combination with the general translate and scale dials, just to fit on any head, for example, like custom tune figures. But there can be sometimes also be a disadvantage in figure hair, because if you have like more bones and you twist the head, and then sometimes hair could behave unnaturally and display rough angles and generally look a bit weird. So to avoid those kind of problems, I decided to, even though the hair is a figure, to treat it technically as a hair prop, and to build in the options I normally would add to a smart parented prop hair. So basically get the advantages of both methods, and you can see those under the parameters tab. For example, if you experience poke-through with certain poses, with the adjustments, you can fix those. I shall pose the head until it gives poke-through. So I bend the head a bit and twist the head a bit. And then in the hair I dial in adjustments. So adjust the back and adjust the left up. Like so, and everything is smooth and not crooked. Let me quickly reset everything. Now I'll make a detour to the options in the content library. You see there is a folder called Style Presets. And this is why the hair is a 3-in-1 style. I shall show you with the hair selected. You can change the appearance with one click. There is a curly updo style. And a vintage 50s, 60s style. You might know or not know, but I have a thing for retro fashion and hair. And a curly bob. And all these presets are made with the dials in the styles folder in the parameters tab. So jumping to the parameters, here you find also dials to control the density, the tips, and the roots. but also swing morphs like style swing right, and style swing up. So in the parameters we have the adjustments and the offsets and the styles. Moving on to the options in the content library, there is a folder called Array Materials, and inside there are the extra options. And you find 4 glosses here. And really fun to play with are the transparency options. Basically, they give you even more control over the roots, the tips and the density. And then the colors included are 20 natural colors to play with. Now, while I do an array render for you, I will address the elephant in the room. Of course, I have been asked, does this Dash Studio only here now mean that you no longer make poser content? And I understand that is a worry for poser users. The short answer is no. And the long answer is that I am going to see how this Dash Studio only here will be received, because I need to see which content is the most successful, basically to determine the frequency in which I make certain content. So for example, if the dual hairs which work in Poser and Dash Studio are more successful, then I will make those more often. And the same goes for the other way around. And maybe you find it fun to know that the products for sale aren't the only content I create. I create all kinds of content like 2D merchant resource textures and Poser and Dash Studio content, of course, but also Photoshop brushes, for example. So if you are wondering what is that expansion folder for Gili, that is not a product for sale, but it is a gift to my special supporters, and I will make a separate video about the expansion and how you will be able to receive it. And that concludes this video. Make it a great day, and thank you for watching.